Welcome back into the Double Down. We are back, and so is football. I am very excited. College football has officially started once more, and next week, basically a week from today, football will be fully underway as well with the NFL. So, with that being said, we do have some lays of the day to let you guys in on, and with baseball still fully in the swing, we are looking at some of that as well.
Yeah, we got about 20-something odd game on the higher half of 20, 28, 27, 28, 29 games left for most teams in baseball. We're going to get into a little bit of lines and games today. Not too many, just our favorite plays, and we're going to dive into that, as well as diving into a little bit of the NFL scheduling based on from team to team, as well as the over and under for each team for the season-long projections based on Vegas odds and as well as some division winners.
Yeah, we might even throw in some of our favorite season-long kind of, bets and, things that we like for players, whether it's MVPs or different stuff like that. So definitely stay tuned while we go over what our lays of the day are. So let's do that real quick, and then we will dive into our breakdown of what some of the divisions and over and unders can look like. So what is your kind of lays of the day, and just in general, what are the games looking like today?
The first couple games I'm looking at is for sure the Phillies around the 3:40, 3:45 start. They play the Atlanta Braves. Phillies are at home, coming off of a massive victory last night. I believe the final was 18-4. Schwarber had 4 home runs.
I saw that.
There was not a lot that the Braves could do. I mean, 4 runs is usually enough to win some games, but definitely not last night, as the Phillies just trumped them completely. And it was not even a contest. I'm going to go right back to the hole here and take the Phillies and the over. Similar formula to yesterday in terms of how the game might go. Ranger Suarez is on the mound for the Phillies. I like that in terms of the Phillies' advantage compared to Bryce Elder, who is a righty. Phillies smash righties. Elder's got a 5-9 record with a 6.12 ERA, and there's just not a lot to like about his form in general. He's just not a great pitcher this year and hasn't exactly shown too much signs of life in terms of what you want from a consistent starter. Again, he's given up 10 runs to the Phillies earlier this season.
Sounds like enough for me to already.
Yeah, there's a spot in Bovada, or check your local, or whatever website you use for betting. But on Bovada, there's the over right now is at 9. There is a, I guess, leg, whatever you want to call it, says Phillies and over 8.5. That's at about you're getting the 8.5, which is only a half-run difference, but you're making sure that you don't push in that sense at the 9 spot. At number 9, Fair. It's a plus 167 value. I love that value.
Yeah, that's a good value for sure.
My other look is very similar. Dodgers and over 8.5. By the way, too, my worry a little bit, if you're gonna have a cause for concern for that Phillies bet, my only worry would be that Atlanta doesn't get enough runs against Suarez. Suarez has a 3.07 ERA, which is good. You're still probably going to allow a run or 2, and then the bullpen will probably give up 1. So if Phillies can hit their average of about 6 runs, which is they're averaging 6 in their last few games.
Yeah,
that's looking good to me in terms of 6-3 final is what I would probably say. Maybe 7-3.
Seems like one that Vegas could just pull out the rug from underneath you too. But
sure,
also,
based on
I like the odds though.
Based on yesterday's game of being 22 runs, pull out the rug from underneath.
Some aggression probably coming from that.
Correct, but I still expect Phillies to be on their game against Elder.
Yeah, Phillies.
They might even cover the. I mean, their offense looked so good last night. They might cover the over again by themselves.
Yeah, hopefully it's not a case of should have saved some points for tomorrow type of thing.
Yeah, I will say Schwarber covered the over by himself yesterday with RBIs. So that being said, though, we'll move on to my second game. Similar angle, Dodgers and over 8.5.
Nice.
Blake Snell on the mound, which could be a problem potentially for the Diamondbacks, but Snell can give up a few here and there. And on the other side for the Diamond, those games are also usually high scoring between the two teams.
Yeah, they play each other enough, you know.
And Zach Gallen absolutely been awful against the Dodgers. In his career, he's 1-5 with a 4.2 ERA in 14 appearances.
Yeah, not where he's been his best.
Yeah, 1-5 scares you. There's just not a good record. That also shows in 14 outings that he hasn't been on the right side. He's usually.
I'll say that one from the 1-5 wasn't the last time they played, right?
No. If anything, Gallen this season I think has like a 7 ERA against them. So he just doesn't fare well against the Dodgers. He's on the road. I just don't like this spot for Zach Gallen. Again, the Dodgers have a chance to, if they could get 4 to 5 runs off of Gallen early, which has been a constant theme, then you might see them almost hit the over themselves in terms of that 8.5 number. Like I said, Dodgers over 8.5, Phillies over 8.5. You could get that Dodgers combo with the 8.5 at plus 195, and the Phillies, like I said, plus 167. Just to real quickly run through these last two that I have. I also like the Yankees minus 1.5 and Cubs minus 1.5.
Okay.
But one of my favorite bets of the day is the Athletics at home money line, minus 148. I love the Athletics tonight. Springs on the mound, who's had some up and down games, but 10 wins on a team that is about average, maybe below average all around. That is looking like he'll do something for them on the mound compared to Jack Leiter and the Rangers, who just have been inconsistent all year. I just can't put any stock in the Rangers right now.
That's fair.
The other part of this that I was looking at is that Rangers have 57% of the bets on that, 57% of the money is on the Rangers tonight. The problem with that is that the line has moved towards the A's all day, just little by little. They went up to as big as minus 150. They started earlier in the day in the minus 140-ish range. And if you're getting more money on the other team and the line's not moving that way, that's a clear indication that Vegas is back in the A's themselves.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me too.
Yeah, my last leg, though, is Georgia Tech minus 2.5.
All right, you took Georgia Tech.
I do think that there's just not enough. With the same thing I thought yesterday with Boise State and USF. Boise State lost their best offensive player, and they had a lot of returning players, but that takes some time to get used to. And one off season, you can't submit someone in the lineup and expect them to give you Genty production.
No.
So there's a lot to like. I think about Georgia Tech over Colorado in the sense that Colorado does not have returners in terms of Travis Hunter, Shiloh Sanders, and Shador are not there anymore.
Is their coach still prime, or?
I think so, but even with that being the case,
I was just curious.
Coaching can go so far, but at the same time, Georgia Tech is well coached. I also like their running back.
I was going to say, you don't have to sell me on Georgia Tech. We could sell the masses, but one of my favorite, almost prospects ever, Jahmyr Gibbs was once at Georgia Tech before transferring to Alabama, and his tape at Georgia Tech is what made me fall in love with him, and basically sell out my dynasty team to try and get him and Bijan or potentially Jackson Smith and Jigba from that draft. But as I'm saying all this, after Gibbs left, this was, I think, the dude that took over.
I'm pretty sure I can look at how long he's
from like he was a rookie, if I'm not mistaken. If not,
freshman?
maybe I would say maybe a year after, but I'm pretty sure this was the next guy up. And then this dude, Jamal Haynes. I'm terrible. I'm just getting into college, people, so forgive me. Jamal Haynes.
And this is also, he's not necessarily like a.
I think he's a senior, if I'm not mistaken.
He is a senior, but what I was saying is not necessarily he's not a not a household name, but people will come if you don't know his name, you'll likely know his name by the end of this season.
You'll know his name soon. Jamal Haynes, though, I agree. I think this dude is definitely good. He's not Gibbs, but he definitely has that streak in him, if you will. One of my legs today is for him to get a touchdown in that game. So anytime touchdown for Jamal Haynes. And I do like I do like them in general. I just felt like the touchdown was safer, so I'm not betting on a team that I don't really know.
Yeah, no, I know a little bit more Georgia Tech wise. I've done my research. They're bringing back a good core of nucleus talent that they've had.
Solid.
Jamal Haynes being one of those key pieces, as well as Haynes King.
Okay.
He's their quarterback, and it's a lethal duo out of the backfield.
The Haynes duo?
Yes, that's exactly what they're called. Yeah.
That's great.
So I'm going to, like I said, I'll take Georgia Tech. I like the money line, -4, -4.5. I know the line.
Yeah.
Find the best line you can, or the best number, whatever you'd like. I kind of bought it down to 2.5, just because last night the lay got messed up basically because I was on the right side with Nebraska. Excuse me, but I had -5 rather than -3 or just money line, and that ended up losing the lay because of that. So I'm going to try to play it safe. And you could say, oh, just go money line, but I like the -2.5. Worst case, it's a close game. They win by a field goal, but I think I actually think Georgia Tech could win by a full touchdown and easily cover the spread here. Same type of idea.
The odds looked like they were in their favor too.
Yeah, and the nucleus coming back for them, as well as Colorado having lost their best players to the draft. It's to me a no-brainer, regardless of Colorado being at home. I like Georgia Tech in this spot.
100%. Me as well, and that is why I took Haynes with the anytime touchdown. You also had mentioned Cubs -1.5 and Yankees today. I have the Cubs -1.5 against the Rockies. It's the Rockies. It's kind of self-explanatory, let alone I am a Cubs fan, so it's kind of self-explanatory in that one.
Yeah, Rockies travel back from Houston now to back home to Colorado, and the Cubs are both relatively short, but I do believe Houston is.
It's not that different.
Most likely because Cubs are coming from San Francisco to Colorado, not a huge travel spot.
If anything, Houston might be closer.
Either way, Rockies.
I don't know.
We know Rockies are and they just beat the Astros for a game, so their next win probably isn't coming for a bit.
Who knows? Anytime it could be due, but
the pitching matchup though today. Cade Horton been great for the Cubs all year. 2.88 ERA. Herman Marquez 3-11 with a north of 5 ERA. You just can't trust a guy like that. I look for the Cubs bats to get going, and this is a key. I think I have this marked down as their key series to get their juices flowing and get back into the race.
Sense.
Yeah,
the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to build confidence somewhere. Definitely. Yankees are having a similar series right now. I mean, the Yankees are in a weird spot as well. They swept the Nationals. Didn't play well against the Red Sox before, but now we play the White Sox and we're dominating them again. So sometimes you need those games to where you're playing a subpar team and you just mash on them to get your rhythm back, get your juices flowing, and that can carry over into other teams and get your confidence up, because half of baseball is confidence at that level.
Yeah, and heck, I think what was it the other day they were doing that old Yankee thing where everybody was getting home runs.
Oh, they've quick note: in the last 10 games, they've tied the record for most home runs in a 10-game span with 33.
Of course they have. Of course they have.
33 is a
so
huge number too. That's
I'm
three home runs a game.
definitely feeling with the pitching matchup, the Cubs -1.5 against the Rockies, and then for me, the Yankees' first 5 seems like definitely they've been getting off to hot starts, and it feels like they'll hopefully do the same tonight.
They broke a franchise record for most first inning home runs.
Straight
So I like that angle of first 5 -0.5. Rodon's the better pitcher as well, so they should have a nice lead through the first half of the game.
And then, of course, unfortunately, even though it is Skins Day, that is trumped by the fact that football is back. So we didn't mention it until now, but I do like the Nerfy and Pirates at Red Sox today as well. Even though the Red Sox do have a pitcher that I'm not too familiar with, but I do think that just
sometimes
the Pirates' offense is not usually strong enough to be getting points in the first inning. So
and the key
it helps.
The key to that, the key to that is number one, you have Skeens on the mound. Red Sox offense, good. They've been good, but you trust Skeens to get 3 outs for you. And then the other side of the equation is, it's a guy that maybe hasn't pitched yet, but that means all the other team, all the Pirates have to go off of is video. They've never faced him. That's always advantage pitcher.
True.
So unless he breaks down in the first inning himself and has just a meltdown, there's just, I like that
possible.
angle. I like that right there.
As far as the NFL season, though, those are our lays of the day. I only did four for you, but I do have a lot of stuff for season long and for the NFL already scheduled out. I don't know how far you want to go today, but I'm down to start with the AFC. I think that they are a little bit more tight-knit in a hole, if you will.
Do you want to go east to west or west to east?
We'll go east, south, northwest.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's kind of how I have it listed out
from
what I looked at. So, of course, in the AFC East, to start from there, the leader of the pack of this year, as is the last many years since Brady kind of left, the Bills are 11.5 is what their win total is for over and under. And I like that. I'm right with Vegas. Like, I'm not going to lie. I think that that's the perfect line because going through their season and scheduling out everything, it was like, I have them right at 11 wins. So it makes sense to me that they would have 11.5. Personally, I'd probably take the under based on that, but it would be so sketchy that it would that's not something I would really touch for an over under on wins personally.
That's a number that, Vegas is going to do that with a lot of games and a lot of teams where they will put it exactly at the number that you're kind of hovering around when you look at the schedule.
Yeah.
Because that's just mainly common
that's
thinking.
What they're kind of doing in a sense too, except they got all these algorithms kind of scheduling it out for them,
Exactly. And so, they have machines that put simulations through and run countless simulations on the season and what could happen. And they have an average number they run through, and that, we're right around the same number. Just looking at their schedule, I mean, week 1, tough game against Baltimore. Regardless of them being home, I do think Baltimore could get that done. It's a toss-up. The line is going to be, right. It's probably moved slightly in between the 1.5 one way or the other. Right now, it's at -1.5.
Yeah.
Towards the Bills, and the over-unders at 51.5. You'll probably assume the public's going to be slamming that over, and they'll be split on the side. That's my opinion. We'll see what exactly the numbers come out
to.
What
they look like when the games officially start.
Yeah, I mean, we still have a week, so numbers will change until, the first game. And this is
a Sunday night. That is a Sunday night game.
So that line will move all the way up until Sunday night.
What's the over-under currently?
51.5.
Okay, so it's gone down. Last time I looked, it was 52.5.
Yeah, so again, that's what you got to look at is if the public is smashing that over, and you're keeping an eye on that number at 52.5 open, and it's dropping. If it ends up getting to 49 or 50, you might want to smash that under, because again, if public percentages say that they're on the side of the over, let's say 70% of the public is on the over, and that number has trickled down 1, 2, 3, even half numbers. The fact that it's trickled down a full number,
I could see like a 23-21 finish, and that would
sure.
That.
I think so many people could probably see a 3 to 30 finish, and you could also make the case for the fact that can end up being 24-23, like you said, and that would be at 47, and that's not over 50. Again, it's a big decision when deciding stuff like that. Make sure you do your research, look at the public betting percentages, look at different angles. What is the weather going to be like? Certain guy, or are certain guys on the roster is going to be healthy? Are they fully healthy? Do the full amount of research so that you know which side is the proper side. Don't get fooled by certain numbers. Don't get fooled by, this is a slam dunk. You should definitely think twice about the slam dunks, because of the fact that Vegas doesn't make slam dunks typically. They make slam dunks, but they don't make slam dunks for us.
No,
we got to work hard.
It's always slam dunks for them.
Exactly. So week 1, again, interesting line. Keep an eye on it if you're going to bet that game, and watch the over under. If it dips with public money being on a certain side, like I'll look right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're still kind of on the Bills because they're at 11.5, but
so right now the spread is 62% of money is on Baltimore at +1.5.
Interesting.
38% is on the Bills. The money line, 81% is on Baltimore, and 19% is on the Bills. That's huge. It's -110 right now as a pick'em on the money line on this website. On this public betting website that I'm looking at.
For Baltimore or for the Bills?
For what do you mean? Money line's 110 for both, -110 for both. Okay. It's a pick 'em.
Okay.
And then the percentage of money is on the 81% of the money is on Baltimore, while only 36% of the bets are on Baltimore. So a lot of the smaller bets going on Bills, a lot of the bigger bets with fewer and farther between, but way bigger money on Baltimore. And then that over under, like I said, 68% right now, sitting at over 51.5, and 32% are on the under at under 51.5. Again, if that number starts increasing towards 70% and above, and you see that number of 51.5 only get lower, you better get in on that under as fast as you can. Yeah. And as far as the money line, that does sway my opinion a little bit, of 81% of money being on the Ravens. I don't know necessarily what it opened at, but tracking it from here on, I'll have a better idea following up to next week of what side.
What it's looking like before game time, kind of thing. And we'll definitely probably even do stuff Sunday.
That'd be a great game though to tune into.
That'd be lit to do some stuff Sunday and actually talk about it before the games too. So maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, see what kind of lines are happening at that point.
Straight up. But yeah, personally, I kind of liked Baltimore in the game. I'm not 100% sure with Buffalo being at home for that first week, but with the whole Bills team, I personally don't believe like anybody's going to make a huge leap forward. Granted, Keon Coleman going into year 2 easily could, and I don't necessarily bet against him, but I feel like he could still fill in the production that some of the other players did last season without anybody making a huge improvement. I mean, Josh Allen won MVP, probably shouldn't have, but it wasn't based on what his receivers or anybody was doing like that. I mean, granted, you have another Kincaid could break out his third year or whatever too, but to me, it just like even with the 16 rushing touchdowns that were produced from Cook last season, it does that's probably going to regress down. But at the same time, sure, it gets spread out a little bit to other people, or Josh Allen sneaks in a few more potentially. It just, what really did they improve on in their roster this season?
I mean, I think, they obviously had draft picks like anybody else, and they, with those picks, they hope to improve certain spots on their team.
And I could be surprised with that.
Yeah, and I think Coleman is actually a candidate for elite year 2 leap based on just prototypical wide receiver. They need that on their offense. They've needed that. Gabe Davis at times was that for them previously, and Diggs obviously before
at moments
or with him, but at the same, but again, that's what I said at times.
He wasn't consistent.
Coleman, I think, was a high enough draft pick for them. They're investing capital in terms of targets, in terms of I think they're going to be a lot higher on him in year 2. Where year 1, it was kind of understood that he's a raw talent.
Sure.
A very raw talent.
Yeah, he definitely was.
There was a lot to like about his build, his athleticism, and what he brings to the table as a wide receiver. But there was, again, a lot of learning curve, a lot of things where you're kind of sitting there saying, okay, he might be year 2 away from kind of refining his skills. But that's what you do in the offseason. That's what. His first season wasn't even terrible. I actually, I think he's a player that they could. He may not be the best player on their offense.
No, he's good.
That's always going to be Josh Allen.
Yeah.
But there's a big void at receiver that Shakir can't necessarily fill that X receiver role. He's a slot guy.
I don't think he has the talent to either. I agree.
It was just not the build. He doesn't have the proper build.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah, and so the other thing is what other receivers are. Josh Palmer's there, but in my opinion, he another Gabe Davis type of receiver could end up being like a nice other outside. But Coleman is the talent. Coleman is the first round pick, I believe.
First round capital.
Yeah, so they're gonna use a good amount of offensive looks towards his way. I'm gonna look at him real quick just because I'm curious. So on just 29 receptions, he had 556 yards.
Yeah, he's a great deep ball.
That is incredible, and only 4 touchdowns. But again. Yeah, but that's the thing as well. It's like you're really going to see.
He was hurt part of last season, or?
Yeah, it says he missed 4 games.
Okay, that's fair.
And if you're looking at his big jumps in terms of fantasy production or just games in general, 5 for 70 and a touchdown, 4 for 125, 1 catch for 49, but it was a touchdown. So again, like you said, big plays. Big playability, but that is needed. Josh Allen has the arm to go do that.
He needs someone that can produce.
And if Coleman can be that, I think he can be that guy for them. I believe that he is, again, ready to take that year 2 leap like we see so many receivers do. And a lot of them are in this profile of a raw, talented guy that maybe needs a year in the league to adjust and to learn certain things from certain guys.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But I think right around 11 wins for the Bills, back to their win total.
Yeah, I could even put them as low as probably 10, as high as 12. But
if Coleman really becomes that guy and is a really X weapon, you might even see them run up to close to 13 wins. But they're going to have to beat some good teams. They have a good schedule or a tough schedule. Week 2 they played the Jets. That's divisional. Early as well.
They don't play them again until week 18.
Yeah, but week 3, really early in the season, right after 2 tough games where you're playing a Baltimore team in the opener that's just as good, if not better than you are. And then the other side of that as well is, again, week 2, divisional matchup. Sure, you may not be scared of the Jets, but division games, we all know that
they have 3 divisional games in the first 5 weeks.
And that was my next point. Is their third game is against Miami, and that series is weird. It goes one way or the other, strangely every time. And the line is -8.5 right now towards Buffalo, but that's a Thursday night. Both teams coming off of a short week. Who knows who's going to be healthy at that point? Even though it's only 3 weeks in, that's again short week. That could be rough for both teams, Miami and Buffalo. Buffalo has the advantage being at home though, so that's good for them. If you look at their next game on the schedule, it looks like
after which one?
Miami? New Orleans.
They play New Orleans, which will be an easy game for them.
It should be, as long as they don't have a look-ahead spot to Week 5.
Which is another divisional at home against New England.
Yeah, and that might even still be a look-ahead in a sense, but Bills are good enough to take care of those 2 games.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, there should be no issues there. Granted, divisional.
My biggest questions are the next week against Atlanta, at Atlanta, Week 6, depending on how you think their season's going to go. Because I honestly think Atlanta will be pretty dang good this season.
I think Atlanta takes a step in the right direction this year.
Yeah.
I also think that there's a lot to be
desired.
Not desired, but there's still a lot to be figured out there.
Sure.
But that maybe we see that all come to form this year. That's very possible. Let's see. Week 7, they get into a bye.
Yeah, so and then it's at Carolina after that, which
probably a W.
Yeah, but then another one that's interesting or a toss-up is Kansas City. They're at home.
The one thing I will say is strange. Like Bills sometimes beat them in the regular season, just not in the playoffs. It's very strange, but that just seems to be how it's worked recently.
Usually.
There is
Chiefs get their cheese,
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Were you going to look up some of the last performances or?
No, I mean, just another game to look. There's another divisional at
week 10. Week 10 they do at Miami, and then Tampa Bay is a really good team in my opinion, and by week 11 they could have some more guys healthy, so that could be a toss-up, but I do have them beating Tampa Bay probably. The one I think that they could get kind of cheesed up, if you will, is at Houston, actually, week 12.
Possible.
I don't think Houston's necessarily going to make a huge step forward this year, but I do think that with the receivers that they got, Stroud, and having healthy receivers, hopefully having a little bit healthier line this year.
Have a season closer to 2 years ago.
I don't know if the line has got a lot better. I got to look a little bit more into that, because honestly, like, that was a huge part of their
lack of success.
Yeah, I mean, between not having healthy receivers and not having a line, it was kind of it annoys me that people are like, "Oh, Stroud's not that good," or this, that. I'm like, fam, you tried throwing to nobody's even blocking for you. Like, come on. But yeah, it'll be interesting for Houston this year, but I think at home they could steal one out and make that an interesting game in week 12. That I think a lot of people won't necessarily see coming. It also feels like one that Vegas would potentially have like I don't know about heavy favorite, but I think a favorite for the Bills that a lot of people would probably be betting towards, and that Vegas it could be more of a betting trap in that sense that by that week. Who knows kind of how health might change things up by then, or how the defenses for each team will be looking. But I do think Houston has a little bit better of a defense, which kind of helps go into play with that. After that, they play at Pittsburgh in week 13. I think they probably win that one. But then in week 14, they do play the Bengals at home. Not at the Bengals home, but at Buffalo. So that game should be super interesting, but I don't know if Josh Allen has ever actually beaten Joe Burrow. I know the Joe Burrow expert can come tell me, but he's got to deal with something real quick. So I'm trying to remember. Also, still looking at the schedule, because I'm not going to lie, as bad as the Bengals defense might have been last season, I do think that they are going to have quite a, I don't know about shocking season, but quite an improvement this year from where they were last season. And I do think that Josh Allen might, lose this one out to Joe Burrow. Week 15, they do play at New England again. I had them sweeping New England in this one, but I also feel like they could easily, like it feels like every year the Bills end up splitting with the Patriots. Welcome back in, Joe Burrow expert. I was just letting them know that after the Week 12 game against Houston, that I think Houston might edge them out. And they play at Pittsburgh Week 13, which I think the Bills win. But then Week 14 is the Cincinnati at Buffalo matchup.
Yeah, Allen's never beat Burrow.
That's what I told them. I wanted to make sure that the Joe Burrow expert, made sure I was right.
Yeah, no, I mean, and there's a first time for everything.
Me.
Yeah, there's a first time for everything too, so you never know what could happen. But
sure, it might be snowing at that point, which will be cool to see by Week 14.
Yeah, it just seems like in those matchups when they've played each other, it's just a lot. Well, even then in the snow, like Joe's proven in the playoffs.
Oh, he's good.
He beat them in the snow on the road. Made it look kind of easy too, low key. So the other thing to think about in that matchup is there's kind of this DeMar Hamlin thing that just hovers over it a little bit. Like everyone remembers that. Sure. That's hard to forget.
Yeah. So I almost forgot it was against the Bengals till you said that, and I was like, oh yeah.
It's every time they mention that, and it's just I don't know if that has any psyche effect or what. Like right now, it says Buffalo -5.5. I would smash the plus 5.5 Bengals.
So that's what I was talking about with the Houston thing too. Is I feel like they would have Bills slightly favored in that, and that the public would probably be all over it. And then it's one of those that Vegas is just like, aha, Houston wins.
Yeah, they release these lines like that. Like, I don't think the Bills are a touchdown better than the Bengals. Like, regardless of the Bengals defense, they only have to make a step up from last. Like, they can't get worse.
That's what I'm saying. Like, sure, give Keon Coleman his props. He could be better this season, and it could be an improvement for the offense. But even then, like you said, who is the other guy that they had? They still have Curtis Samuel, and then
I don't even know if they have Samuel. They have Shakir and Josh Palmer.
So Josh Palmer, they got Josh. That was probably the one addition to their offense this offseason, it seems like. I don't think that means anybody's going to be much more of a threat offensively.
No, I think Ray Davis gets some more touches, and he'll have.
Granted, they're a team that has the ability to get a touchdown on any drive. But if you're telling me that the Bengals just have to keep score with them, Bengals can do that.
Yeah, and Hendrickson has created enough problems in the past in this matchup for Allen.
Yeah,
he's athletic enough and he's a good enough end to give him fits. There's just not a ton of. I mean, that late in the season, again, we'll see what's going on, but there's not a ton of previous data from games they've matched up with each other where you can sit there and say, oh, Bills are the right side, especially at -5.5 and never beating them or never beating Joe Burrow. 100%. Like it's even the last game I remember, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I think it was last year though. There was a game where Bills and Bengals faced off against each other, and the Bengals, I believe, led the whole game. And the only point you ever thought Bills had a chance was when they were down 2 scores late, and then they got a score to kind of dress up the score. But they would have had to stop Joe Burrow on the offense from getting like a first down, and it just didn't happen when they had the ball back. So it's just one of those, again, read the lines when they come out, but I'm not a fan of that 5.5 towards the Bills, just in the fact that that's a lot of points, regardless of how bad the Bengals only lost one game last year that was double digits.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Just to go over the last 2 games that I potentially think that they could lose, because after Cincinnati, it's again at New England, which they could lose either of the New England games, like I said.
Possible, just because it's the division.
Yeah, division cheese, and I feel like they usually do somehow.
They do split sometimes.
Week 17 after week 16 against Cleveland, which I think they'll win. Week 17, they play at home against Philadelphia, which I think right before playoffs will be probably a huge game 2 weeks before for both of them in terms of first place type seeding potentially. And I'm not gonna lie, I think Philadelphia pulls that one out. So after that, they play the Jets the last week, and I personally think that they possibly split with the Jets. I don't know if they split with the Patriots, but I do think that they split with the Jets this year. I think the Jets are going to be a lot better than the public probably thinks that they'll be.
Yeah, I mean, at 5.5 wins, it's not a ton to project them at.
To go over them next, do you want to go from the top to the bottom of it?
Okay. I mean, we can. I think they'll be. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they'll be better than what Vegas line has them at. I think they're capable of 7 to 9 wins. If Justin Fields shows that he's the guy that blew up for those certain games in Chicago, you could potentially see a 9 or 10 win team.
Even then,
if they get things right on defense.
Didn't they start last year like the Steelers, like 4-1 or something when he was starting? And then they benched him because of a contract dispute where it was like if they benched him, they got better picks this past season.
That was for the Steelers.
Yeah. That's what I mean, though. Like when he was playing for the Steelers, though, they were 4-1.
Yeah, so the Jets could give him production around him like the Steelers.
I feel like it's a very similar situation. Like they have one wide receiver, one guy that's similar to what they had with George Pickens, defense. And a strong to really good defense. And it's like
they even have a better running back.
Yeah, they have a way better running back room. Mm-hmm. Like to me, it's like, what are we talking about here at 5.5? Slam that shit. Like, please. Oh my God. Jets are not going to be bad. I'm sorry. It's just not a thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of kind of overhype about Fields can't fit, but this and that.
Yeah, even in the preseason, it was like at times I saw stuff that was like hype pieces that was like, oh, Fields is looking good. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, people were just slamming him on some of his preseason stuff. And it's like, y'all, he's just getting the preseason stuff out, getting the rust off. Yeah, he did early on in the preseason. But it's like, what are we doing? Like talking trash about Justin Fields. Like, this guy's not bad.
No.
He's never been bad. The only time he was too bad was with the Jets. And one
with the Bears, you mean?
Sorry, yes, because he's with the Jets now.
Well, even then, though, the Jet with the Bears, I'm pretty sure at one point wasn't their coach like Nagy.
I'm pretty sure he's a defensive coach that's not good.
No, he's not a defensive coach.
It's supposed to be a defensive.
This one was the head of special teams for the Chiefs. Defensive coach. I would never label him a defensive coach, but he was the special teams guy.
He was pretended to be.
Yeah, no, he's not a coach, a head coach. That's why he went back to Kansas City.
Yeah,
if I'm not
the only place he's like.
Yeah, so there's definitely no. There's just no reason to think that they'll get 4 or 5 wins. I think 5 would be probably absolute worst case scenario, other than maybe Fields getting hurt. And then the Jets are the Jets. You have to remember that too. It's a lot like the Mets.
Yeah, and it's not like they got a cakewalk. They still got to play Buffalo twice.
Yeah.
Which again, I think that
they're capable of beating the Patriots twice, and they're capable of beating the Dolphins twice. So there's 4 wins right there. If that happens, granted, if you split 1-1, then there's 2 wins, and you're finding basically 4 more wins in their schedule, which probably won't be that hard.
I think that they beat Pittsburgh week 1. I think that's a revenge game where right off the bat, Justin Fields is going to be you know what? You guys benched me so unnecessarily when I was leading you to probably better than 9-8 season, Steelers.
Well, that's why they benched him. They wanted 9-8.
I know. Well, of course, they still do.
Mm-hmm.
That's always their goal. Never less, never more.
Yeah, week 2 against Buffalo, that'll be a tough one.
That'll probably be a loss.
Regardless of them being at home.
I think that they probably lose at Tampa Bay too. But then I'm not gonna lie. I think that they beat Miami both times this year. I think Miami is kind of
for sure at least once.
Yeah, I feel like in the offseason they've been kind of having shambles. In a sense, Tyreek doesn't seem like he really wants to be there most of the time. Tua has his concussion issues, but I still love the dude and hope that he succeeds. It doesn't feel like their locker room right now is gelled. And to me, that feels like a lot of things are going to be changing for them in the offseason. To me, it feels like the Dolphins are not going to be good this year. And it's almost ridiculous, in my opinion, that they're plus 700 to win the division, where the Jets are plus 2,000. Neither of them are winning this division. But if you're telling me that you think the Jets are 5.5 a win total and the Dolphins are 8.5, I'm slamming that Dolphin under and I'm slamming the Jets over.
I feel the same way, but not necessarily the Dolphins, more about the Patriots. Like I see no path where they get 8 or 9 victories. It just doesn't. Drake May is okay, but nothing about what they've done, and
it's kind of a Bills situation in terms of they didn't really. I mean, they got Diggs.
I'll tell you.
Which, yeah, precisely. Your reaction is everything.
Yeah, I mean, like the two things I look at that I like on their team is drafting Will Campbell to protect Drake May.
Yeah,
and getting Travion Henderson.
Henderson was a big game changer in my opinion.
Yes,
but he can make their offense a little more dynamic.
The two of them will. The offensive lineman and the running back. But is that going to get them 9 victories? I don't think so.
8.5, because both them and the Dolphins are 8.5. And right now, I won't lie, I have the Dolphins at like 6 wins, maybe 7.
Yeah, if you look at the Patriots schedule, unless they make that big of a jump, same kind of thing. Like I don't really think
I have them at 8 and 9. So.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, and that's still under, and be to me that's probably their best outcome they could have.
Yeah, whereas
they're not a 10-win. They're not going to be a 10-win team.
The Jets are 5.5, and I have them at 8 and 9. So, okay,
yeah,
they're probably going to be just as good of a team.
It's again Vegas. I think is baiting people with that 5.5 in terms of people think the Jets are going to be so bad, and it's. I think the 3 teams not named the Bills in that division will be almost the same record.
Yeah, precise.
Like 7-10, 7-10, 6-11, something like that.
Yeah, that's I have them at 8-8 or 8-9, 8-9, and then 6-12.
Yeah, something. They might find this way to
11.
Again, one of them might find their way over 500 at 9-8. But I don't really see 2 10-win teams in that division.
Yeah, I would. All of them. It's funny. All of them. I would go Bills under 11.5, Patriots under 8.5. Even though I do have them right at 8, I could see them winning 9. But like you said, that I don't see them winning more than 9 games at all. Dolphins are at 8.5. To me, is just doesn't make sense. I don't know how many games they won last season. It probably was around there. So in that sense, it does. And their defense is good. I'm not saying it's not bad. It's like bad. But at the same time,
they did get Minka.
Yeah, but it just nothing screams to me Dolphins. Like looking at the Dolphins, this is a 9-win team right now.
Yeah, I mean that whole division, other than the Bills, is pretty mediocre right now. So
yeah, that's fair.
They all scream 7-10 in my head.
That's fair.
At the most, like the Patriots, maybe again 8 wins at most, in my opinion. I think they could be a 4-win team potentially. Like they're not that good. They've been competitive at points in games.
I think they make a little bit of a step up this year, but I get what you're saying. They have the potential to be.
Yeah, I mean, again,
not good.
There's not they just don't have the same aura at all. And no one in the NFL is looking at Drake May like, damn, we got to play him. Like everyone's like, we got to play him.
He looked good in the preseason. I'll say that. Drake May, it looked like he could make a step up and be a little bit more like Josh Allen in a sense. But again, I don't know if that means he can win more than 9 games this season.
To me, he's kind of like a slightly richer man, Zach Wilson.
Oh no, he's better than that.
Slightly richer
I guess.
Zach Wilson. He's not that good, but he's not awful. Zach Wilson at times had shown flashes.
I didn't say it.
Zach Wilson is mainly known as a bad quarterback. Drake May shown flashes. Hasn't, again, year 2 coming up, we'll see. But he had the same questions, I'm pretty sure, that Zach Wilson did in terms of, playing big schools.
He's shown more than Zach Wilson, especially with his legs, in my opinion. But
I don't know. I don't really have much.
I'll tell you this: I don't think Patriots should be 8.5 if the Panthers over in the NFC South are listed at 6.5. Not to go to a completely other conference, but the Panthers at the end of last year, the last 10 games of the season, if you compare them to the Patriots, and the last 10 games of the season is when Bryce Young came back from getting benched. If you compare them from those 10 games, the Patriots were a game worse than the Panthers. And the Panthers are somehow, with a better receiving core, worse than the Patriots, who did almost nothing for their receivers other than Diggs. Like, sure, Diggs is an improvement. I don't think Diggs is a big enough improvement over the last 10 games of what they showed to, like, sure, maybe those last 10 games that probably didn't have every single game where it was started with what's his face? Not Mac Jones, but their quarterback, Drake May.
Yeah.
I don't know if he started every single one of those last 10 games.
He started 12 games for them last year.
Yeah, so
played 13.
If you look at Bryce Young, started 12 games also and played 14. And they literally had almost the same exact stats, except Bryce Young had maybe more rushing touchdowns.
The only stat I can sit here and be happy about when I look at Drake May's profile is completion percentage.
That's fair.
Because he's at 66 points, so 67 basically.
That's good.
But 2,276 yards through 12 games doesn't scream like he's averaging under. He's averaging 100 and not under. He's averaging 175 yards a game through his 12 games. The 13 because he's played another one, but 15 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Not a good ratio. I want. That means you're throwing essentially, for every 5 touchdowns, you're throwing 3 picks. Yeah. Or no. 5 touchdowns, 3. Yeah, roughly. Yeah, you're throwing 5 touchdowns to 3 picks. So it's just not a great formula. And he's got to cut that out for sure. Yeah. His yards, again, not even at 2,500. I mean, rushing, maybe there's a different, that adds another little bit of fantasy aspect. But in terms of, winning games on a week-to-week basis, you're not going to be doing that, throwing for 175 yards a game and having a ratio of 15 to 10 of touch. Like when your touchdown percentage is 4.4%, and your interception percentage is 3%. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's not good enough to win.
His QBR is 58.6.
Not even that they can't win. It's more that's not championship caliber for sure.
No, and again, we saw flashes, just like we have with many other rookie QB. I bring up Zach Wilson because there's random times where you're like, oh shit,
he looked good.
Yeah, but most of the time you're sitting there like, damn, like this.
I still think he's a little bit better than that for sure.
Yeah, and I admitted that.
Yeah, I know you did. I know,
but I don't think he's that. I think people have a.
I hear you.
Screw. Again, we'll look at the rushing real quick just to give you an idea. 54 attempts for 421 yards. That's a good number I like, but only 2 touchdowns. So he's not really running the ball when he gets into the end zone or into the red zone.
He's not really running it in.
The biggest concern, easily, on top of the interceptions, this dude had 9 fumbles.
I was going to say.
That is 19 turnovers to 17 touchdowns.
That's bad.
That is I don't think he's a terrible quarterback, but I think he's overrated at this moment. And I think that there's not a lot to sit there and go, this is going to be a guy. Right now, it's like, show me consistency, and I'll think about the fact that you could be a starter in the league.
You know who that reminds me of is that talk host guy that used to be a quarterback. What's his name? This old Steeler quarterback. Everybody, he's a Hall of Famer, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Bradshaw?
Oh. Bradshaw's numbers. I get it. He was good. You watched tape on him. He was
also a different time, but
I know it was a different time.
Awful numbers in terms of touchdowns.
It literally, I'm pretty sure he threw like 2 or 3 more touchdowns than interceptions
total for his career.
Yeah. It's like
I think he's like 2 above.
That just sounds exactly like what Drake May probably was last year. It's just a total Bradshaw.
Yeah, and again, we're looking at a guy that's not completely developed yet, not in the point of his career where he's just going to be at his peak. But sitting there looking at a 12-game sample size, which it's not a full season, but it's definitely a respectable sample. You didn't see him for 2 games and then he's done. You saw him for 12 games and he put up 175 yards average per game with a total touchdown to total turnover ratio that's negative. You don't ever want that from me. If anything, you would, from an elite quarter, if you want your guy to be elite, or at least in the, there's elite, there's great, there's good, average, below average, and then just terrible.
Yeah.
Right now, he's sitting below average in terms of that, because average touchdown to interception ratio to me should be probably around 2 to 1 or 1.5.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
2 to 1. Like if you're at 2.5 to 1, that's pretty decent. That's okay. That's good. When you're getting into the 3 to 1 or the 4 to 1 range, or even higher, that's when you're elite. You're getting into the elite area right there. But when you're sitting again at a 17 to 19 ratio, negative, you have more turnovers total than total touchdowns.
No bueno on that.
Again, that could be the line, and they've shored that up. So that's, kudos to them for doing that with Will Campbell. I like him as a prospect. There's not much to hate on there. And the running game should help him manage a game better. But adding Travion, I'm not a believer in Stevenson. He's just bad. In my he had his moments, but he's just not a running back I'm a fan of. He doesn't bring extra juice to the table. He doesn't really do anything special. He's just kind of there as a running back body.
Sure.
Which you need on a team, but they drafted Travion Henderson for a reason. He's much more explosive, much more dynamic, much more electric.
Yeah, I love
better
him.
At everything.
I love him for anytime touchdown week 1.
I like that too. And Drake May will probably take a step forward, hopefully for his sake. But right now, based on the numbers I was given, or that I'm given from his last season and his 12-game sample size, 12.5, whatever, I'm not going to put stock in over 8.5 wins on that. I'm under 8.5 seems like if I'm betting 2 things in this division, and only 2 things, Patriots under 8.5 wins, Jets over 5.5. Jets will find a way to at least get 6. Patriots will not find a way to get to 9.
I'm with that. And I was almost trying to just not go over divisions the entire time while we're doing this, switch it up. But I agree. I think Bill's definitely for winning the division. And the only team I really like over is Jets. Just to switch it up real quick, for most passing touchdowns, the lines right now, I'm trying to double check, but I'm pretty sure in the top 5, Josh Allen is not even there, which kind of just goes to show
in terms of
odds for most passing touchdowns this season.
Yeah, he runs it a lot.
Yeah, and but part of it too, though, is just to me that also shows that there's probably not going to be anybody that's making a huge leap as a receiver this season for them either, probably, which is part of why I still have them probably right around 10, 11 wins and not, 12 or 13. And also just with Josh Allen, I don't think he's going to win back-to-back MVPs, and he shouldn't have won last year probably, even though he's had a great season. I'm not trying to discredit him with that, but the most passing touchdown leaders for odds, Joe Burrow is number 1 at plus 450. Love that personally.
Yeah, plus 450. I mean, he led last year. There's a big high likelihood he's if not leading at the top, the defense, the top 3.
The defense didn't make any huge strides in the offseason, similarly to how Bill's offense didn't make any huge strides to change or improve either.
Yeah, I mean, part of the Bengals is not doing a ton.
They weren't healthy last year.
Is getting guys healthy with Dax Hill, Cam Taylor-Britt, Jordan Battle.
A lot of the secondary was hurt last year, for sure.
Yeah, as well as now we added Demetrius Knight,
And I do
junior.
think that their defense will be better
And
this year.
Shamar Stewart as well.
I do think that their defense will be better this year, but I do think that they're still going to be
needing to pass. And they're already the most pass heavy team, and that's no secret. Zach Taylor wants to do that. He wants the ball in Joe Burrow's hands.
But Chase Brown plus 40 touchdowns for Joe Burrow is almost seems like a no question at this
feels
point.
Like, and you got to remember too, they don't have a first place schedule necessarily. They have a couple tough games in there.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I think that they can make huge improvements in their record this year. For sure.
And there's they play certain teams, good teams, but they have home. They always play the Ravens twice. We know that. But
Browns, I have it like 3 or 4 wins. So
and we play them twice. We play the Steelers twice, which we probably will split somehow. But we could sweep.
You
them
could
because
potentially.
of the fact
You
that
could.
We don't know what Rodgers
I'm not gonna lie.
Be.
I was gonna say I think the Steelers are not gonna be that good this year.
The other side of it too.
We're not necessarily going to the AFC North, but I would not take them at 9-8 this season.
And you see us play some tough teams like the Bills and the Lions, but we've shown we could beat the Bills and the Lions on the road, outdoors.
Sure.
Different coaching staff. It's a game. Plus the spot that it's in, the Lions have a look ahead, I think.
Yeah.
And even then, not that they're looking past the Bengals. That'll be a good matchup. Great game to watch as long as everyone's healthy, which hopefully knock on wood.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of winnable games, and I think Joe Burrow and this specific team, they just signed also a right guard, which has been the missing piece in their offensive line for the last few years. And they've been building it, but right now that they had their left tackle, right tackle, and center. They're all good. Left guard is okay to salt, like he's okay, and then the right guard was just the absolute hole that was in the wall. And now we
made improvements for that.
Signing the Vikings right guard, I believe the stat I saw, he hasn't really allowed a sack in the last 2 seasons he's played.
Damn.
If I'm not mistaken, so that's looking better for them.
That's a guy I want protecting my quarterback.
Yeah, and hopefully, and guard doesn't always. They're usually pushing up on DTs, but they help Chip with DTs.
I mean, that's probably part of the whole thing with the Sam Hubbard signing of, hey, we'll give you $30 million for this year, but after that,
mean Trey Hendrickson?
Trey Hendrickson. Sam Hubbard retired. My bad. But yeah, I feel like that definitely is part of the play, and with him getting that signing recently too of just a year, and just them being like, we got so much dues to pay. We could pay you for a year, but you're 30 years old also.
Yeah, and they did that void contract thing that'll help both sides out, especially this season. They still have that $25 million in cap they can use to go get whoever's left out there.
That's what's up. That's really good for them.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But
after Joe at plus 450 is Baker at plus 900 for most passing touchdowns.
I like that as a dark horse.
I do too. Well, it's crazy that
it's
not even that dark horsey. They have him as the second highest odds.
The thing is,
and he was up there last year.
You could see a slight regression because he has different weapons now. In a sense.
McMillan's going to be probably missing half the season. To your point,
Godwin's not returning soon.
Godwin's definitely not healthy yet, and people try to act like he's coming back soon. Yeah, to your point, I don't really necessarily think he's going to be there. Definitely the first 4 weeks, which already that's a quarter of the season, basically. You know what I mean? Like,
and in fantasy, and if you're talking about season, and then if you're talking about fantasy terms, that's even more percentage of the season because it is
literally a quarter of the season with playoffs being counted for.
Yeah, if you're talking about regular season, you're missing him for a good amount of games.
Almost half the season for regular season.
Yeah, half is what, 6.5 games, 7, depending, because week 14 playoffs, week 15 playoffs, essentially. So you're missing him for a good chunk.
Almost half.
Ibuka will be good for him though, and
Ibuka should be great. This year.
And Bucky Irving still. So I don't hate that as a dark, in my opinion, a dark horse option.
It's possible those were the odds before the McMillan injury too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not 100% sure on that.
Could also
things could have changed.
Yeah, and you could see, like I said a second ago, possible regression just in the fact that Baker did have 41, I think last.
I would say he definitely was in the 40s, barely over.
Yeah,
40,
Joe led with 43 passing.
Yeah, and then Baker and Lamar, who
41.
Yeah, Lamar is right there at 3, tied with Pat Mahomes at plus 1,100 for leading his passing touchdowns.
And I don't think you'll see Lamar get to 40 this year again. I think you'll see him probably another great year.
Yeah,
maybe in the 30s. But I do expect a slight regret. We hadn't seen 40 from him passing before this. So you can't necessarily expect it this coming season. And they have a tough schedule.
With Derrick Henry there, you still expect them to be a bigger threat rushing the ball.
Yeah, no matter how old he is. Yeah, and even they're going to run with him as well.
I still think that with him there, though, it does leave variable for Lamar to have another season where he does throw 40. But after this, I don't really expect him to be throwing 40 consistently
all the time. Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. He should be hovering around the mid to high 30s. If he gets to 40, again, I'm not surprised, but I don't think that'll happen.
The last guy that I took note in, so again, I don't know if things have changed or if I just didn't put some other guys. This might just be some of the dudes that I like the most at their price as well. Dak is here, the 5th dude that I have listed at plus 1,200. And that one kind of goes against what I think of the Cowboys this season, but also it makes me like with them trading Micah Parsons yesterday, which was a huge piece of note. Huge. I don't even know if we talked about it.
Not yet.
That was just nuts what happened with that. Great for me because I'm in an IDP league and I have Micah Parsons. I just drafted him the other day. We did our redraft in that, and it feels so good to have Micah Parsons on the Packers. Yeah. That's just me, though. That's just me. But in general, it's real close now. I'll back it up real quick. But I personally definitely don't think the Cowboys they're at 7.5 for their over-under this season in total wins, which already to me shows that Vegas is not confident they're going to be a playoff team or a strong team in a sense. So that kind of already, again, I don't know if odds have changed since I looked, but to me, that says, but then also plus 1,200 for Dak. Maybe it's because their defense is getting worse and their offense with George Pickens getting involved is going to be needed a little bit more this season to get them anywhere near that 7.5 total wins.
Yeah, and that's going to be – they're going to need everything on offense unless they figure it out defensively without Micah.
Yeah.
Which they've had some time, games to do that because he's missed some games before, but – in terms of a full season, they'll need to adjust their defense accordingly. There's also the aspect of will they be having a conscious effort to run a little more this year?
Sure.
With different backs than they've had. But as far as, dark horse long shots for passing touchdown leaders, my true dark horse, I think, actually would be Goff.
Oh, Goff would be a great dark horse.
Just off the fact that
different offensive system that's probably going to be passing more.
Yeah, and Ben Johnson he was great for them, but I think what you'll see this year potentially with the JMO breakout last year, you're going to see more of that.
Precisely.
They didn't really have a third receiver other than quote unquote receiver Laporta.
Well, yeah, of course.
And they have Gibbs and those guys can catch, but they didn't have a true third wide receiver that could consistently give them production. Drafting Isaac Tesla and what I've seen in the preseason and just
what he looks like the next Puka Nacua.
Potentially, he definitely looks like he'll be their wide receiver 3. I don't know how Dan Campbell's going to be able to keep him out of that spot. And with him there, that's an explosive offense. You see them score 40 often through seasons the last couple of years that they've been getting better and, great offensively.
And you could definitely maybe contribute some of that to the scheming of Ben Johnson too. But to your point with that, Ben Johnson is a coach that as an offensive coordinator liked to scheme a lot of things and like to run the ball a lot with the 2 running backs that he has.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm sure they're still going to love to run the ball when they're up this season.
With both of them.
But I feel like the offensive coordinator coming in this year and with JMO being a guy that is breaking out in a sense, like you said, or
Dan Campbell literally said JMO has made the biggest improvement as a player and a teammate out of the
I feel like
team.
with that and with them getting Ben Johnson moved, going to the Bears, that definitely leaves the door open for this offensive coordinator to come in and change the offensive system in a lot of ways, and not make it so much of a scheme, but more of a pass heavy. We're going to dominate you and lead heavy, which of course Dan Campbell is going to be all over.
Put the ball in Goff's hands.
Yeah, and then once they're up by 30, they're going to run the ball down your throat. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean again, part of the passing game, you will see all three receivers involved, Laporta involved, Gibbs and Mont. You'll see everyone.
That's
involved.
The thing. Everybody can catch there. It's not like anybody is not a threat to catch the ball and run it.
Yeah, now having that third receiver is going to be
key.
An extra weapon.
It's just it unlocks the passing offense in a lot of ways in general.
Yeah, and again, this is not my hard take Goff to lead in league in passing touchdowns. I firmly believe it still will be Joe Burrow. But Goff is a great shot, and I'm not sure what the price is on that
for Goff at most touchdowns. I would love to see. I would say I wouldn't recommend taking this one, but just real quick, funny side note: Baker Mayfield, while he is second in most touchdown odds or highest odds in most passing touchdowns, his most picks is also second highest odds at plus 850. So take that for what you will. Baker Mayfield. And part of that is because he actually will be playing the whole season. So you got to think that guys like the Giants quarterback or just different quarterbacks throughout the league that you think might get the most picks, they might get benched for throwing that many picks. So
yeah, they have Goff at
Baker's not going to get benched.
They have Goff's over under on the year at 28.5. So he's actually in the higher
that
range.
sounds a little like almost double what Dak is and then some. It is double and then some.
Let me see. What was Dak's?
I saw plus 1,200. It might have changed.
Oh no, I'm not. I didn't say plus like 1,200. I was talking about not fourth highest odds. I was more talking about fourth highest number at 20. Okay.
Interesting tactics. I will say Joe Burrow for MVP is plus 600, so take that for what you will too. I like it.
This is weird.
I like it a lot.
I don't know why this is struggling right now.
Is do you want to go over the AFC South today, or are we going to save some of it for the rest? We could go division by division over days.
Yeah, we could do that. We could hit that episode tomorrow, and definitely cover because I'd like to go into a deep dive. I know there was a couple teams here today. We didn't go into a super deep dive.
We didn't go deeply,
but we gave enough explanation. I feel like to not take those teams to win the division or to have certain,
or to be great this season. I mean, we could go a little bit further into the Dolphins, but
in my opinion, if you're putting money on the Dolphins, call 1-800-GAMBLER because that is the most uncertain team in the NFL.
They can literally
right now.
Win any week by 20 points or lose any week by 20 points.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. It is probably the most volatile team. The most again uncertain.
The off-season vibes for me too, in particular for them, have just been some of the most sketchy vibes that I've gotten from any team. It just literally at one point it felt like this might be nearing the end for Mike McDaniel, and just the whole Tyreek was talking about trade me, and I feel like he says that once a month, and that alone to me just makes me want to pull my hair out. And I'm not even a Dolphins fan. I'm just like, why do you want this in your locker room? I know he's super talented. He's a great player, but goodness gracious, between his off the field antics,
feels like they're at the point where it's time to make a decision. Stick with the guy and let him finish his career
just
there,
trade him.
or move on to where Waddle's the one, because Waddle has one potential, but we saw last year where
it seems like right now that Waddle might be the one going into this season.
Really?
Just honestly, from the vibes I get, that's high key the vibes I get, and just the production. If you look high key, I was looking into
this
it.
Could be Tyreek's fall off year, just on the fact that
last year was even maybe a little bit. It's not like his production jumped down a ton, but it was enough to where it showed signs similar to the fall off of I want to say AJ Brown, but it's not AJ Brown. It's not AJ Green, but it's Julio Jones. Julio Jones, when he fell off hard. He's literally probably the best receiver in the league until he fell off. And when he fell off, it was like, yep, that's it, boys. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like his production.
The other thing, too, with him, though, is he had a
lot of injuries.
Pretty decent history of specifically a foot injury, like a turf toe.
But the thing is, too, is in my opinion, Julio Jones is a lot more dedicated to his craft probably than Tyreek Hill is at this point in their careers. So if you're taking all of that, the fact that he's already kind of been wordy and weird about being on the team and Tua in general in the past, I'm sure that they're all cool and dandy, but like that doesn't feel good in the locker room, and I'm not even in the locker room.
You know? Yeah, and then even if it is, again, there's just a lot of uncertainty. Like A-Chain's coming into the season with the calf injury, so they got to monitor that. Monitor that for sure if you're in fantasy. Try to see what
Ollie Gordon. Yeah. Ollie Gordon looks like the running back 2 right now.
Yeah, Jalen Wright would have been, but he's hurt as well. And they have injuries all up and down their team, and just uncertainty on both sides of the ball with consistency. And that's not what you want in terms of betting. That's not what you want in terms of fantasy.
Yeah.
Waddle may end up being the best asset to own from them this year because of the fact that him or Ollie Gordon, because of the fact that Tyreek's being Tyreek and A-Chain's calf.
If A-Chain can be healthy, he should be probably the best fantasy asset from there. But with Jonnu Smith leaving and going to the Steelers, getting traded, that leaves a huge door for targets and opportunities that got taken away from Waddle and Tyreek last year.
Darren Waller's there now, but who knows what he's going to be.
Sure. He's been out of the league for like 2 years. So
a year.
It's only been a year.
I think it was a year because he was with the Giants 2 years ago.
Precisely 2 years ago. That was his last season.
Yeah, and then last season was his first.
I guess sure. It's been 2 years for me, but
2 years since he's been in the league, but not 2 years out of the league.
Fair.
Does that make sense?
Not 2 full seasons. Yeah. It's NFL time is a different thing.
Yeah. Different calendar.
Yeah, it feels way longer. Yeah, we'll probably go over some more tomorrow through the AFC. We've already kind of touched on a lot of things here and there, but we'll go over the South. One of the most interesting divisions to me in probably the entire league. Emphasis on interesting. Real quick to kind of finish it off with some cool season-long bets that I've seen. Browns and Saints, to me, are a slammer at plus 400 for fewest wins. I'd probably even do Saints.
I'd put 100 on both, and you're making your money. You're making more. Come on now. You lose 100, but you're making 4 either way.
Yeah, you're doubling your money up doing that.
Yeah, doubling. Well, no.
If you're putting 100 and each one of them wins plus 400.
Well, the other thing too, what happens if they tie with 3 wins?
They're both the fewest, technically. Oh, you win both.
I would hope. I would think.
That'd be great.
In worst case, you probably push on both.
Yeah,
and that is a good bet. The other one, I would say. Just if you're throwing one out there,
I would say there's a random one I saw real quick, just because I do think that the Bengals have a chance to be really good this season. Joe Burrow being plus 450 to have the most touchdowns, just a total random one out there. Bengals to have a passing touchdown in every game this season is plus 450.
There was only one game that didn't last year.
Yeah,
and if I'm not mistaken, it might have even been the first game when they played the Patriots, and that was literally Joe's first game back from his hand.
Yeah, his wrist stuff.
Yes.
Right?
So if you're looking to, and I could be wrong, I could be very wrong on that, but
no, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, actually, you know what? He would have had a passing touchdown, but the tight end, not Hudson, I think it was like the third string tight end.
It wasn't Gesicki yet.
No.
Yeah.
It was the third string. God, not Hudson. Who is that? I don't like remembering him because of this play. This idiot went all the way to the goal line, and then they punched the ball. He's running and punched the ball out and fumbled. And I'm like, that's the game right there. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan this year of Bengals having that passing touchdown in every game, especially with the line being a little more reassured with the right guard signing.
Yeah.
My favorite, I think, kind of you might have to search for this one in terms of your website.
Yeah,
your betting website.
wherever you gamble, and
Wherever
please
you're betting may not
gamble
offer it.
responsibly, please.
Yeah, please. You may not. They may not offer it, but I would seriously entertain the fact and go look at what Jackson Dart's over under touchdowns is, because yes, he's not the starter now, but if that is at a minuscule number like 8.5, 7.5, if he gets in within the first few weeks, just based on the fact that they're just like, you know what, we're ready to see what he's got. You never know. He could be halfway through the season. That still gives him about 9 games to get about, maybe, again, check the number if they have it, but it's probably no higher than 10.
Yeah, it's
on ESPN, his projected number is 10.7. So
that's just passing though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So they might have his number around 9.5, 10.5. Go find it, see if it's out there. I really like that. Just off the fact that because everyone knows he's not starting right now, the plus money on that will probably be pretty decent.
Yeah. And real quick, since you brought that up, I do have a list of Rookie of the Year odds. I mean, Jetty,
that's another one. If he gets in early, Jackson Dart.
I was going to say because you said that, I had it listed here. Just he's a dark horse at that Rookie of the Year slot. Just Jetty is plus 220, so he's the favorite right now. Cam Ward is plus 400. Omarion Hampton is plus 650, which personally, I really love that.
Omarion Hampton, what?
Plus 650 to win Rookie of the Year.
100%, especially with how much they're going to run.
I'm not going to lie. I think Chargers could win 12 games this year. So personally, like, there's almost no way Hampton doesn't get like 12 plus rushing touchdowns, which if that's the case, yeah, he could be Rookie of the Year. Anyway, from Hampton, Travis Hunter is plus 900, which I think is not a great price for him. And he could do great stuff on both sides of the ball. I just don't think he's going to do good enough stuff on both sides to win Rookie of the Year, to me.
Travis Hunter?
Yeah. To me, it's kind of that same thing.
It's going to depend on playing time and how healthy he can stay.
Sure, and that definitely is part of it too. Ted McMillan is plus 1,400. Travion Henderson is also plus 1,400, which Henderson, that's a little bit interesting to me too. Egbuka is plus 1,900. He's probably not going to win Rookie of the Year, but my goodness, does he have a lot of opportunity coming this way?
Tons of opportunity, actually.
Yeah, which to me, if his odds have not gone up, plus 1,900, that'd be a great dark horse. The last couple I put, funny enough, Shadur Sanders has better odds than the last two guys I'm going to mention. Shadur Sanders was plus 1,600 to win Rookie of the Year, which to me is kind of nuts. Bill, though, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is plus 2,500 to win Rookie of the Year, as well as Jackson Dart, which I love both of those odds. Plus 2,500 for.
I mean, hey,
Jackson
sprinkle
Dart.
A little bit on. So yeah.
Dart in particular, because QB is probably going to win the position or win the award.
Offensive Player of the Year is. You could get him at FanDuel for plus 40,000.
This man is a madman. 40,000. That is
that's insanity.
He's not doing that. But
no,
that would be
probably
amazing.
not. But
not this year.
We've seen crazy things.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm trying to find his passing touchdown props, which
I don't know if they have them up. I feel like in a lot of them they've cheesed that because they know if he gets the opportunity, he could easily pass that.
Yeah, he had a great preseason. So
he did.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's funny that they put Shadur at plus 1,600. I'm like, they're just getting people to throw money away.
Yeah, make sure you get that Phillies bet in. And if you're not comfortable with the Phillies money line, or if you're not comfortable with the over, take one or the other. You don't have to take both. That game is starting right now. It's gonna be a good one, folks. Mark my words. Phillies in the over. Take it or be sad.
Indeed. Thank you for tuning in, though. Make sure to subscribe. We're going to be definitely going over the rest of the divisions before the season begins next week. enjoy your drafts this weekend. Good luck.
Hit that like
all
button.
of you guys that are out there. Yeah, smash that like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Make sure to double it down.
Peace.
Peace.